Hello and welcome to chapter 7 of The Boy with the Bronze Axe. This is called the Festival of the Sun. Okay, there's some questions that I'm going to ask you, so I'm just going to put them up on the screen now.
Okay, we're looking to explain the mood and atmosphere that the author sets on the first page of this chapter, giving an example from the text to support our ideas. We'll be able to retrieve what gifts Callie and Tenko exchange, and a little bit of a summary of what happens at the Festival of the Sun.
Okay, so as usual, we will stop as we go along. Chapter 7, the Festival of the Sun. With their stone axes and Tenko with his bronze axe, the men of Skara broke up the skeleton of the whale. Each was given a share of the whale bone. Lokar saw that all was done fairly. As Berno and Tenko, Callie and Brocken brought the whale to our shore, to them should go the bones they choose. I choose the 2 jaw bones, Berno decided. With them I will make rafters for the thatch of my roof. And you, Tenko? Lokar asked. I will take some of the smaller bones to make harpoons and enough of the whale's teeth to make a necklace. And Brocken chose a bone that he could shape into a large knife. When Callie's turn came, she pointed to the whale's backbone. Those bones could be used for little dishes to hold paint when the men paint their faces and paint their bodies for the Festival of the Sun. I should like some small bones too that I could shape into bone pins for our cloaks. Some of the men used the ribs for the whale to make supports for their roofs. The women rejoiced over bone to make needles to sew their sheepskin garments. Even the children were given large flakes of bone to work into knives. The tribe felt richer than it had been for many years. I'm going to stop there because our first question asks us to explain the mood and atmosphere that the author sets on the first page of this chapter, giving some examples. So have a think for a moment about the mood and the feeling. Okay, definitely there's a feeling of teamwork and community and of showing pride in in what they're doing with the bones of the whale, and everyone's really excited to have new things to work with that can help to build their community. I like the evidence that I would use for that would be the statement that said the tribe felt richer than it had been for many years. They felt rich. So let's keep on going. Summer days grew longer. The sea sparkled round the islands, fringing the edges of the shore with curling white. On the cliffs, the seabirds which fed their young. The gannets dived after fish. The terns wheeled over the sea, giving their plaintive wailing cries. The black shag quarrelled amongst themselves as they stood in rows on the rocky ledges. The hills sloped greenly to their rocky summits. On the lower slopes, the flocks of the tribe grazed. It was drawing near Midsummer Day. There was hardly any night at all in Orkney. By the point of the Hauna, the sun plunged into the sea, to appear again 3 hours later over the shoulder of the hill of Crudé. As each night became shorter, excitement grew in the tribe of Skara. Soon there would be the Festival of the Sun, where the tribesmen of Orkney meet on the rising hill of Brodgar between the 2 lakes. There, in the giant circle of stones, at midday on the longest day, the men would make a sacrifice to the sun god. Okay, there answers our it's not one of our questions, but what happening at the Festival of the Sun was that all the men from the islands would meet, and they would make a sacrifice to the sun god. And a sacrifice normally means they give something up. It could also possibly mean they kill something. So let's find out and see. The women prepared new tunics of soft as sheepskin. With flint scrapers they scraped away the wool and washed the skins in the stream that ran for the lock of scale. They kneaded and pounded them on the stones till the skins were soft and supple. Then they shaped them into tunics, sewing up the sides with sinews from the sheep. Callie joined the women in their work. She had begged 2 soft lambskins from Salek, and these she worked on till they were soft as the lamb's wool itself. Callie sewed them into a tunic, but she was not content with that. She bored holes into sheep's teeth. She bored holes in sheep's teeth she had collected and sewed them round the neck of the garment in a pattern. She tacked a deep pocket on the inside of the tunic and fastened it with whalebone pins. When it was finished, she took it to Tenko. "This is a new tunic for you to wear at the Festival of the Sun. Your deerskin is stained by salt water and torn by the rocks." Tenko looked at the tunic with delight. For a moment he was speechless. Then he stammered, "Callie, you made this for me?" "Yes, the women folk of Skara always make new tunics for the men of their families when they walk in the procession at the Festival of the Sun," Callie told him. "My mother has made a new tunic for my father and one for Brocken. I made this one for you, Tenko." Tenko put out a hand and stroked the soft skins. "I have never had such a beautiful tunic," he declared. He fingered the bead-like pattern. "But you, Callie, what will you wear at the Festival of the Sun? Should not this tunic be for you?" Callie shook her head. "The women do not walk in the procession. We follow the men after the crowd. We follow after the men in a crowd. No woman is allowed in the ring of Brodgar, so we watch from the outside. We wear what necklaces we possess. I shall wear the eagle's claw you gave me. No one else will have an eagle's claw," she said proudly. Tenko suddenly dipped in the deep pocket of his tunic where he always kept his bronze axe. "I've been making something for you too, Callie." He pulled out a necklace. It was made of the teeth of many animals, beautifully polished and shining white. They were graded from the very small teeth of rabbits and lambs to the larger teeth of sheep and cows. There were nearly 100 of these ivory beads, and from the centre hung 2 of the great teeth of the killer whale they had forced ashore. Callie exclaimed in delight, "Oh, Tenko, not a woman of my tribe has ever had such a fine necklace." "Put it on," Tenko told her. "I will fasten it behind your neck for you." Carefully, he tied the sheep's sinew on with the beads, which the beads were threaded into a firm knot. Callie knelt and looked at her reflection in a still shallow sea pool. She drew her breath in sharply. "Oh, Tenko, this necklace is so beautiful. I will wear it always. It shall never leave me, waking or sleeping." Tenko looked more than pleased. From behind a rock, Corwin had watched the exchange of gifts. His face grew dark with hatred and jealousy. He sought out Tresco and told him what he'd seen. "The stranger from the sea will have a finer tunic than any of us," he said. Tresco sat chewing his nails for a few minutes, and then he laughed shortly. "Tenko may wear his new tunic with pride, but he will not wear it for long. He will be sorry that the men look twice at him when he walks in the procession. I have thoughts in my head that I will keep till the day of the Festival of the Sun. Be content till then, Corwin." Oh, I wonder if you're thinking what I'm thinking. In preparation for the longest day of the year, the tribe of Skara had many things to do. The previous day, they cast off their old tunics and rushed into the sea. They rubbed their bodies with white sand until the skin was reddened. This was the ceremony of cleansing. Next came the ceremony of painting. The women had prepared pigments in little basins made from the vertebrae of the whale. There was yellow paint made from clay, ochre, a red paint made by crushing pieces of rusty-looking rock, and a blue paint made from flax paint. The men dipped wads of sheep's wool into these paints and rubbed them over their faces and bodies, making bold patterns. Tenko watched Berno, not knowing what to do. "Come, Tenko, smear on the red paint." Berno offered him the wad. Tenko shook his head. "In the forest we did not paint ourselves. The smell of paint would give us away to the animals." "Did you not even paint yourselves in honour of the Festival of the Sun?" Berno asked. The men painted themselves only if they went to war with another tribe. This was to make them look more frightening. Also, it showed to which tribe they belonged. Here on the island, you do not go to battle, do you? Berno shook his head. "Not now. We all live in our own villages and look after our own flocks. Their meat gives us enough to eat. We have no need to fight, so we live in peace." Tenko considered Berno's words gravely. "I think that is a good thing, that you live in peace." You said your tribe of hunters painted themselves to show which tribe they belonged to. Yes, we too make a sign on our chest to show we belong to the tribe of Skara. See this." Berno opened up his tunic. Upon his chest was daubed a round red circle. "It is the mark of the sun god. All our people carry it. If you do not wish to paint the rest of your body, Tenko, you will bear this mark to show that you belong to our tribe. I ask you to do this because you are now my son." "Because you ask it, Berno, I will bear your mark on my chest," Tenko told him. Berno gave Tenko a little cup of the red paint and a swab of the wool. Tenko left the rest of the men and climbed over the rocky reef. When he was out of sight, he opened his tunic and painted the sign of the sun upon his chest. He sat looking out onto the sea till the paint was dry, and then he drew his tunic about him and went back to the rest of the tribe. The women had been busy in the houses. They had roasted great joints of beef and mutton and wrapped them in the leaves of plants and put them in skin bags. The water skins had been filled at the spring. The women polished their necklaces of bone beads and combed their long hair with bone combs till it lay straight and sleek. Now all was ready for the morning, and they lay down to sleep. At sunrise the people of Skara rose. In Berno's hut, Stempsy was astir first. She and Callie went to milk their cows. They returned with the bowls of milk, and Stempsy set them to heat on the glowing peats. There would be no meat eaten till after the festival of the sun. This was a law of the tribesmen. Except for a drink of milk, they must come fasting to the meeting place at Brodgar. Some tribes came many miles from the east and south of the island. They made the journey the day before, and camped for the night near the narrow neck of land that ran between the two great lakes of Stennis and Harre. There the tribe from Skara would join them. Stempsy laid ready the new tunics that she and Callie had made. "Today, Tenko will wear the new tunic I have made for him," Callie said with pride. Stempsy gave a little sigh. "May it bring him joy and not misfortune." Callie caught her mother's hand. "How could a tunic bring him misfortune?" "I do not know. Think no more of it, child. They were stupid words that came from my mouth. Come, let us wake the others." Stempsy lost the strange look that had come into her eyes and spoke briskly. All the same, Callie looked troubled. It was said among the tribe that Stempsy had the sight, the gift for seeing into the future that her grandfather Loka possessed. That's where I'm going to stop there. Interesting. There are lots of thoughts going on in my head at the moment about what's going to happen. I'm hoping you will too. So I will see you tomorrow for the next part of chapter 7. We went over the questions as we went along, and the gifts that Callie and Tenko exchanged with each other were quite obvious, so I think we can work those ones out for ourselves. See you later.